Hey everybody, welcome back to Rathlin Island. It is day 3 of early autumn. I know last video I said I would probably come back in mid-autumn to harvest the wheat that is over here in field, I think that's 25. But I realized that we need to take a load of manure down to the BGA and have handy. We also need to restock our greenhouses, and I wanted to document this because this is the first time that I've actually restocked the greenhouses since we started them up, and they have produced a fair amount of product and consumed a modest, in my opinion, a modest amount of water and manure. So I thought that was a pretty important thing to point out, that I haven't had to babysit those things. Oftentimes with production maps or production in general, if you're running at a clock speed other than 1x, find you've got to babysit the stuff. But these things have been tuned to where they don't need babysitting because the production is so slowed down. Basically, no matter what the clock speed is, it seems to produce one pallet every 24 hours, which is a great speed if you ask me. Because then if you're playing at 1x, well, you might decide that it's awful slow because you go through a whole lot of time before you can get any money. But if you are playing at 5x or 10x or even 15x, one pallet every game day is rather manageable. We've already taken one load of manure down to the BGA and stocked it up, or put it in the digester when it was running at 8 o'clock this morning. So this load is really just going to be to kind of leave down there and just pull from periodically. Just gonna put the trailer here. Brought the cloths over here from the BGA. We've been leaving it down at the BGA since we do need to stock, or not stock, but we need to keep feeding it twice a day. So really, it needs its own implement. Before we paid for the manure, I thought I would just go ahead and empty out the manure that we had here in the cow pit. And we also have some slurry need to do something with. Well, we don't need to do anything. Got some. Got 14,000 liters of slurry. Really need to we need to pick up a tank for that. We're obviously not going to use our milk tank slurry. Need to pick up our own that. Yesterday we finished harvesting the potatoes off of field 5. So we have all our potatoes in now. And we'll take a look at the pile of potatoes I've got over at the BGA when we take this manure over there. And then we need to, like I said, come back here and feed the greenhouses. Get water in the greenhouses. And at that point, I think we're going to start cultivating our potato fields. We have fertilized those yesterday. Went ahead and fertilized our grass fields some more yesterday, and we finished that job off this morning. Then we're going to look at well, then we fertilized last night. Did fertilize the potato fields. They have one state of fertilization in them at this point. We go and cultivate those, because I'll tell you, I think I was thinking a little bit about this earlier. I don't think we're going to put potatoes back in those fields for two reasons. One, I've been reading up that lots of times folks don't put potatoes in the same field 2 years in a row. It seems like they will rotate the fields by 2 or 3 years. So they may put potatoes in one field like every 3 years. And the reason they do that is that the potatoes really take a fair bit of nutrients out of the ground that they need to grow well. And as a result, if you put potatoes in the same field multiple years in a row, you can really lose, I guess, production in the second year and definitely in the third year. And by putting another crop in them in the fields, helps replenish the soil. So I'm thinking that we're going to put in canola in those two fields for next year. And I was looking at seasons, and we are in a planting period for canola. So let up and just show you that. So here we are. We can put canola in the ground all the way up till winter, the start of winter. So that is something else. Whoa, back up. That is something else that we can take care of in autumn. Here is to work those two fields up, cultivate them up, and then plant canola in those. Let's see here. I don't know how much manure we have in that thing. Let's see here. Get out in here and check the tractor. 74%. By having the New Holland turned on, running, a glance will show us the capacity of the trailer. It's kind of a cheat. $43 a bucket. Get far more out of that in manure bonus than we are spending, so not worried at all about that expense. Just like the expense of the manure for greenhouses. Greenhouses bring far more money in than they cost when I buy manure. Alright, well, that 98% is good enough. And leave that there. And we're going to go ahead and pull on through here and just use this to turn around. Put the cover on. One reason why I don't think I'm going to plant potatoes for next year is we fed the BGA some potatoes, and it seems that we don't get the energy out of them that I was expecting. Looks like the BGA extension mod, and I'm still learning this thing, looks like the BGA extension mod uses different crops differently. So when we were putting hay bales in, we would typically only put about 8,000 liters of product in the digester every 12 hours. So it would run, and it would need about 2 full hay bales, maybe 3 every so often, to get it back up to 30,000 and everything. Then we started putting silage in. And silage, it seemed to take more silage than it did take hay. Then we switched, and I started putting some potatoes in once we started harvesting potatoes. And it seems like the potatoes go through a lot faster than both the silage and the hay. So I'm thinking, so but let's go over here and just check the F1 menu. See, we are at 614,000 kilowatts, or 614 kilowatts of energy being produced. And we've got the manure bonus going on. We've got a feeding rate of 100%. I haven't changed that. Seems like we need to put maybe, let's go look at our potato pile. So we're putting anywhere between 3 and 4 buckets of silage in the digester every 12 hours. Pile of potatoes. And it looks like we could be putting like 20,000 liters of potatoes in every 12 hours. So really it seems that potatoes aren't that efficient in the digester as far as energy production. In fact, it looks like when we just put potatoes in, the energy production actually goes down. Doesn't go up. So I am thinking that even though it takes potatoes, I don't think it's using potatoes very efficiently. So I'm not really looking to put potatoes in anymore, simply because it does not seem to be a useful crop for the digester. Now we will use up the potatoes there in the digester unless we get a really cool price on potatoes in town. We will think about taking them in town. I think we're going to use canola in those fields going forward. I'm going to drop the trailer right here. Come over here and hook up to our water tank. We're gonna go top our greenhouses up with manure now. Shorten up the arm. So with MR, the weight of manure is pretty darn heavy. This tipper gets awful light in the rear with a full bucket of manure. Let's go fill this one up first. Looks like they have a full pallet of produce too. I don't know what the fill level on these is. And then out very shortly. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and finish topping these off with manure. I'm going to get water and top our greenhouses off with water. And when I come back, I will be hooked up to our star cultivator. And we'll be over here cultivating field 4. Alright, we finally got ourselves our manure and water in the greenhouses. Back here and hook up to our star culti plow. It does the plowing action, but you know, it doesn't really matter. Cultivates, and that's all that matters. This means we won't have to worry about plowing anytime. Pick up these eggs. And while I was getting the water, I had an idea. I know I was talking about getting field 16 and 17 and 8, I think. But in looking at some other stuff, I think I'm going to get 8, 9, and 10 now. Maybe even 6. And the reason is that we've already seen part of the part of the map that is 16 and 17. And we really haven't been too far past the cow farm here and past field 7. So I saw cheese. Let's have to check out and see how much that cheese is. Didn't see how much, how long it was for. Cheese, $1,000. I don't know if that's really that good of a deal. I don't know how long it's been since we were down there and picked up the cheese. I don't think it's been too terrible long. I don't think we've got too much cheese down there. Alright. Go ahead and pull one in here. Drop her on down. Let's get out here and add some weight here to the front. This helps. But it's starting to help. Alright, well, clearly we shouldn't be going uphill. Go this way. Alright, we're lined up. We're down. I I have the 6 or the 7. I got the T7, okay. Should have the horsepower to pull this. See if the cultivation gets going a little bit easier once we get out from around the edge of the field. I've noticed sometimes with this map and MR that I'm close to the edge. It's like it's harder to work than the actual interior of the field. I'm trying to think back on this. Did I pretty sure I cultivated some of these fields manually. I may have cultivated some of these fields with course play, and with a hired helper I think it deactivates the MR stuff with a hired helper code. So I'm pretty sure I did a couple of these manually. Again, maybe there is something to do with wet ground. We did have rain yesterday. We did have a wet crop condition all the way up until sometime overnight, I think. Ground is a little moist. See, we're dropping it down there. If I hire a helper, well, the helper's not having too good of a go at it either. Just check here. Yeah, see, we're at 19% moisture. We're pretty moist on the ground. So interesting. Well, I guess maybe we're not going to cultivate this field today. Let's go ahead and run over to the other field and see if we have better luck with that one. Maybe we're not going to cultivate today. Maybe we got to wait till it dries out a little more. Pretty sure I cultivated these fields with this this tractor. No, I definitely didn't cultivate it with the T6. It's smaller. I don't recall leasing a tractor just for the purpose of cultivating. See how this one works over here. But a cultivated 4, 25, and 5. They no longer need plowed. And let me show you this. I was looking at the forecast, and we have snow predicted for the first day of winter already. Could that be a sign of a very heavy winter as far as snow is concerned? When I've all of the winters I've played through with seasons, I've not had a bad winter yet. I've had fairly mild and fairly well tamed winters at this point. So, you know, the idea of having a rough winter is a little interesting, and I don't know if I should say exciting, but it is definitely interesting to go through that experience. Got the gritter, salt spreader, down at the cow farm. Got plenty of salt in it from last year, so we will be good to go there with respect to clearing the roads and clearing everything out. But will be interesting to see. I've been watching Mr. Sealy P's videos on the Valley of the Old Farm, and the videos he's put out so far, he's up to, I think, late summer. And darn if he still doesn't have snow piles in random places on the map. I just find that so so interesting that his winter was that hard, that he had piled up that much snow off the roads, that it's still not melted. I don't know if that's a fluke of consoles or what, or if it's just that he's had a cool spring and summer to this point, where the snow just hasn't melted off. That's also a possibility, I guess. Doesn't look like we're doing too very well here either. Might not be able to do any cultivation until mid-autumn. There's our wheat field. Need to come bring in. Got our harvester now. We got our tipper now. So all of our equipment that we need. Got our seeder. So if we stick with the grains, the wheat, barley, canola, we've got everything we need to harvest at this point. Don't have a potato planter. We leased that when we were putting our potatoes in here. But we do have the potato harvester, should we wish to actually put potatoes back in. Well, I don't think we're gonna manage to get much accomplished here. Still moving, but alright. Maybe we'll just cultivate crossways the next little bit. See how that goes. So I've also, by the time this video airs, I've also made the announcement that I am considering, and I guess by making the announcement, I guess committed to starting an epic seasons play series on Emerald Coast, where we're going to try to play for 10 game years. That's something that I think has not been done with seasons to date. I've seen lots of folks play, you know, a year and a little bit. We have played a year and a half, a year and 3/4 on Midtown, and a year and 3/4 or so on Churn Farms. We've also played 3 years on Old Guy Farms, which was a Goldcrest Valley edit by Old Guy Pharmer. So 10 years on a single map is a pretty epic journey, I think. That's what I'm calling it. I'm calling it an epic journey into seasons and Emerald Coast, where I hope that over the course of 10 years we will see the diversity of the seasons that and the diversity of the weather that seasons can really bring. I suspect over 10 years we will have dry summers, dry years. I suspect we will have very wet years. May have cold snaps. May actually get a little bit of snow that might actually fall during winter. Might have very, very wet winter. Might have a couple dry winters. It's hard to say what we're going to experience, but it'll be a fun journey. Still trying to think it out, map it out, and plan out, you know, kind of the starting principle. Figure out, you know, how do I want to start this series? Because for me, I think very much how the series starts will dictate a fair bit of how the series plays out. I don't really want to own too much of the map at the start. So if I do that, then it really doesn't leave much room for growth. I don't know if I want to be dealing with all the animals at the start, or work them in slowly over the 10-year period. No. I guess I could start the map, you know, as if it's an ongoing farm, and just run the farm for 10 years as it is, and really not grow anything. Just keep reaping the rewards of the crop. Like I say, I'm still thinking about it, still trying to figure out how we're going to work it and everything. But I'm doing a live stream, and where we're going to basically talk about all of that, and maybe during the live stream I'll come up with a plan of action to go ahead and execute that plan of action going forward with the series. Now, I'm not too keen on multiple series running at the same time, so we'll probably not really start Emerald Coast hot and heavy till we're just about done wrapping up Rathlin here. And I'm still, like I said, we're planning out next game year on Rathlin, so I'm not even looking at ending Rathlin anytime soon. So it's going to be interesting to see how we can juggle these and manage them going forward. And I very much expect that the Emerald Coast 10-year journey is going to last beyond Farm Sim 19's release. We're going to be playing Farm Sim 17 on Emerald Coast, while we are also playing who knows what map on Farm Sim 19 probably. So that's not something that is unheard of. I know some folks that were playing Farm Sim 15 and 17. Some continue to play Farm Sim 15 on some long run maps and everything, and probably will be continuing to play 15 when 19 comes out. So it's not unheard of by any stretch of the imagination. It looks like we're cultivating pretty good now. I'm wondering if something magical happened in the last little bit that made the ground drier, because we just were able to come up over this hill. Maybe that hill's less steep than this hill over here or something. But we're going to continue to cultivate for as long as we can, and when we come back, we will be harvesting our wheat. Unless for some reason it does not come due tomorrow. But I am expecting it to come due tomorrow once we transition to mid-autumn. So guys, I hope you liked the video. If you did, please hit the like button. That would be super awesome. Let me know that you like this stuff. If you don't like the video, you don't have to hit the not like video button. You can just leave it as it is. Leave any comments if you've got any ideas or any thoughts or anything you want to see on the map itself as far as being involved in the gameplay. Also, I encourage you to go check out the folks in my description. They all put out different and unique Farm Sim 17 content, different from the content I'm putting out. I encourage you to go check them out also. We also do map videos, if you're not aware, every Tuesday and Thursday. Right, we try to do videos every Tuesday and Thursday. There's not always a decent map to show off on Tuesdays or Thursdays, but when there is, that's when you can kind of expect to see it hit the channel. Well, it's not working. So until next time, happy farming.